Hi everyone, I'm your host Subhasis Sahu, Head of Marketing at FinFloh. Welcome to our new podcast series, What's AI for the Office of the CFO. In this series, we'll be diving deep into the world of AI and its transformative impact on finance teams, whether it's optimizing accounts receivable, making smarter credit decisions, or streamlining cash flow processes. We are here to break down how AI can empower finance teams and reshape the way the Office of the CFO functions. In the first episode of our podcast, we have Amartya Singh, CEO and co founder of FinFloh, joining us to talk about the applications of AI in CFO tech. To set some more context, FinFlow is an AI powered solution designed to help modern finance teams optimize accounts receivable and make smarter credit decisions. Speaking about Amartya, he holds an MBA from IIM Bangalore and a BTech from NIT Rourkela. Before FinFlow, he was the co-founder at Ubic Technologies, which was by a listed payments entity, Infibeam Avenues in 2022. He also has held several leadership roles at Cashfree Payments, DGO, Time, and KPMG. Welcome to the podcast, Amartya. How has your day been so far?
Thanks a lot, Subhashish. Really excited and pumped up to be a part of the podcast. Really looking forward to talk on what are the most interesting and exciting things happening with regards to AI and finance.
Perfect, perfect. That's great. Okay, so Amartya, we'll get started and we'll begin with the first question for the day. I know we have been working together for more than a year now, and I know that you personally love AI and its application, and you have been a big advocate of this since your college days, is what I remember. But I would love to know as to what is the story behind your fascination for AI. How has it been?
So I think my interest or my love for AI actually goes way back. A very interesting personal trivia. In my final year of
Mm-hmm.
engineering project, I was actually working on the application of AI in healthcare. Very interesting space, right? And I personally believe healthcare has a lot of scope in AI with all the available data with regards to patients, with regards to the diseases, with regards to treatments. There's tons of data with regards to medical records, right? And back then we were working on two major applications. One was decision trees in predicting the disease based on symptoms, and second was clustering algorithms, mostly unsupervised, to connect states and districts to further double down on the mapping with diseases. We won a lot of awards as well as, and we had a lot of and we had a lot of backing from industry experts as well as the government. So in short, my interest with AI goes way back, and it is still going on and continuing with FinFlow, ever growing every day. Yeah, we are working on super interesting projects where we are using AI for finance teams. So yeah,
Mhm.
looking forward.
Okay, that's really interesting, Amartya. It's clear that AI has really evolved rapidly and it is like the talk of the town, not only for individual productivity, but also for businesses. And when it comes to finance, we have seen CFO organizations increasingly adapt to AI to streamline their processes. And we at FinFlow as well are really focused on pushing those boundaries even further and solving like some of the most complex pain points that finance teams have. But would love to understand how do you see AI truly transforming the processes and operations within the office of the CFO? Yeah, over to you.
Right. So I think if you look at overall how AI has gone about, has evolved, it has a super interesting background. And while AI has become mainstream now, it has been around for many decades. From machine
Correct.
learning to NL, deep neural networks, computer vision, and right now to generative AI of today. We have come a long way in AI, and we are yet to go a far longer way with how AI can be used. The most exciting thing about AI in today's world is how it can be applied in the future, right? And what has happened is AI is extended beyond not only working for use cases where businesses come in the picture, but it is also now heavily being used by individuals. From writing
Yeah.
emails to writing codes, presentations, statements, designing logos, making videos, making content, AI is like everywhere. I am also a big fan
I
of applications. So though there are questions, there have been questions about how the generation of content or data can be differentiated or can be unique in the case of generative AI. The impact can be is huge, right? It has changed how we do things, right? And although there is one concern which founders like us and which startup like us are facing or are going to face in the future are the processing costs, right? And they are going to get
correct.
huge because you look at the processing capabilities, you look at the data which is being dealt with are huge and with multiple challenges in terms of how you're going to pipeline the data, how you're going to put the data warehousing, how you're going to clean up the data. There's so many of the challenges that firms are facing. And For startups, while
Correct.
right, and for startups, while the biggest cloud providers like AWS, Google, and Microsoft, and other many others are actually providing credit, it's definitely a concern. However, I'm hopeful and optimistic that with so many bigger firms and great minds are working on this, we are expecting the processing cost to decrease over a point of time, keep decreasing, much in line with Moore's law. Right, I'm a big fan of Moore's law. How Moore's law has constructed and worked with the entire semiconductors side of business. Right, just hope Moore's law stands the test of time and is applicable for decreasing the processing cost for artificial intelligence.
I'm sure it will.
Right? Yes.
And as you said that AI is like in every aspect of what we are doing today, and not only businesses but also how the personal work of different people have evolved, right? And I would just take an example of me only. I think 2 years down the lane, when I was into marketing, I never thought that I could just have a brief idea and then convert that idea into an entire presentation or an entire blog, but now I can do that within seconds. So that's really fascinating. But what I believe is that right now we have just barely scratched the surface with what AI has to offer in the longer run, both for individuals and businesses. But for the knack of time, today we'll just keep our focus into one topic, which is AI in CFO tech. So, what do you think about it? I know we at FinFlow have been going at it to solve customer problems, but I would love to hear from you on how is AI truly transforming the functions and processes within the office of the CFO.
So I think a little bit moving away from my personal thoughts, and let me come down to what has been my experience or our experience in the last couple of years, right? A little bit background on it. When we started off FinFlow, right, we saw the gaps in the financial ERPs, right? Be it the lack of sync with CRMs and other softwares, difficult UI UX with legacy platforms, and most importantly, the applicability of AI and data to solve for financial automation, right? So I'll not call it gaps per se because financial ERPs are great at what they're doing. But if you look at the core product, did not have these functionalities which might make a business super effective and super productive, right? And that's where we
Correct.
saw that gap, or not a gap, but we saw that the functionality that if Inflow can provide atop these financial ERPs, that can be super helpful and super great, right? So that's where we use artificial intelligence in invoice to cash and credit decisions and credit risk scoring a little bit deeper into what we are exactly doing. You look at collections flow, right? So we are using AI in how you can devise a collector's work list or how you can send collection reminders, right? So we are basically simulating how a collector or a person in the receivables or in the collection team will go about collections, right? The other aspect is
Okay.
reconciliation, using machine learning for providing OCR driven capabilities to read a account statement, read a payment advice, right? The other realm is the generative AI aspect of building a virtual assistant. Now that's a big problem statement that CFOs and finances don't have actually the time to get the data. It might be for a board meeting, it might be for a financial review, it might be
Correct.
just it might be that in the given month the DSO is actually not up to the mark. So if you want a specific set of data, what will you do? You will have to reach out to somebody from the finance team, receivables team. They should be available. They should know what you want. These all problems are just addressed by the virtual assistant. And the icing on the cake is a virtual assistant is integrated with Slack, right? So it just comes into data, right, directly into your platform, right? And on the other hand, disputes, right? Disputes, for example, providing a dispute intelligence layer to able to predict what kind of disputes are happening. And this is especially applicable in logistics, for example, right? But out of everything, my favorite application of AI is how we are doing the credit risk scoring using ML and providing the AI recommendations directly during customer onboarding in Salesforce, right? That is a game
Right.
changer
Right.
because when a seller is onboarding a customer on Salesforce, they can take these decisions which they did not have. They have the market data, they have a recommendation, and they can really benchmark their decisions against that. I
Yep.
believe is something that I really love about how we are using ML, how on to calculate the credit scores and building an AI layer. Yeah, so I think that is a brief summary of what we have been doing. But yeah, exciting times ahead to keep on applying AI, for example, from accounts receivable, credit risk scoring decisions. We are looking to apply in treasury. We're looking to apply in record to report. That entire landscape opens up because we are constantly using AI, applying it to solve business problems for customers.
I think I truly resonate with whatever you said, right? So, in my opinion, what I feel is usage of AI is not just to make the processes efficient. Of course, it makes the processes very efficient, but it also saves a lot of time that people were actually wasting on a lot of repetitive. And when you have that luxury of time with yourself, that is when you can actually go ahead and think about more strategic items. You can actually go ahead and do things that matters, make those collections call, chase that dollar and get the money in. And yeah, but it's really interesting. And as you said, right, the ability to use AI to streamline processes like collections, disputes, and even customer onboarding directly into Salesforce, right, just eliminates a lot of that manual stuff. And this is truly innovative. And with credit risk scoring being powered by machine learning, right, finance teams have now like a superpower for making smarter data driven decisions. And given the range of these applications that you just mentioned, right, I'm curious as to what has the response from the finance leaders been so far. I think what kind of value or measurable business impact are they seeing for these AI driven solutions? Like,
I think the response from finance leaders had been overwhelming, right? And interesting concept. Keep bouncing it off on finance leaders. What has been their take on AI? And the overall response has been really positive. Finance leaders are really looking to adopt. And I remember one specific conversation I had with the CFO with one of the biggest SaaS companies in the world. And I was speaking
mhm,
with them, and I asked them, what are the top priorities that you would like to focus on, or it's most important for a company? They said the top
mhm.
priorities are and AI. That is the kind of the focus currently of companies. Companies are looking to automate. Companies are looking to bring in that automation, which makes their work better, makes it more productive. Today's modern finance folks are at the top of the game in adopting AI, right? While automations have been a part of finance process, AI has become the biggest current thing, right? And as far as value is concerned and impact is concerned, you look at use cases like that we are working upon, right? Accounts receivable, credit scoring decisions, reporting disputes, and treasury, and many other functions. There are so many things
Correct.
adoption can achieve, right? We look at productivity, better predictability, uptick in cash flows, most importantly, decisions. You are taking much better decisions which are in line with your business goals, right? And interestingly, we are also working on a ROI calculator that can give you the outcome of an investment in an AI project. And this has been one of the biggest tasks for finance teams. They really want to know, what if I'm investing X dollars, will I get 10x dollar return, 5x dollar return, 50x dollar returns? I think that is one thing that has been in the making, and we are really focusing on giving that.
Oh, that's perfect. I think if people who are listening to this really want to figure out as to whether they should go ahead and see what AI has to offer in terms of the use cases that we are solving, right? I think this could be a great option to get started. Great points, by the way. I think few decades down, finance teams were really struggling to adapt to the latest technologies. But I think if we see the finance leaders of today, I would truly resonate with your fact and say that they are absolutely at the top of the game. They know technology more than what probably people who are building it, right? Because they are looking for the perfect use cases that can say make their teams more efficient. AI in that case can really drive a lot of value when applied thoughtfully and at the right places. But of course, for businesses which are new to AI, the challenge is often knowing as to where to get started from, right? How to get the most out of it. So for companies who are looking to build an AI, what would be your one piece of advice for them?
I think people have been talking about AI and wanting to build multiple applications of AI. And AI is really, there's so many different applications of AI. You look at the LLM side, you look at something like predictive AI, which has been there since a long point of time. And we are looking at autonomous applications of AI across ecosystems, something we also call as autonomous applications in finance as well, right? So from that perspective, I think AI has really gone up and above what was it was initially planned for. So in today's state, multiple firms are wanting to see how they can use AI. Obviously, one biggest pitfall that has I've seen in firms, or sometimes we have seen with my fellow co-founders and other startups, is that there has been a general attempt at applying AI for the sake of AI, right? So that was one major thing, because in my opinion, it should be the opposite, right? Finding the right problem statement and matching it with the right solution which solves a problem statement, validating that solution, and using AI to make that solution infinitely better is the right approach, because it actually maps down that AI can be used to increase productivity, increase efficiency, make better decisions, decrease errors. So either it should have a direct impact on the way you are doing your work, or it should have a direct impact on the revenue, cost parameters, efficiency. It should have directly some kind of a parameter approach for actually applying AI, right? Once the problem statement is figured out and the solution is figured out, I believe AI can be actually very powerful into making the best form of solution. and that can differentiate you from any other player who's actually just solving the product rather than applying the data which is there, right? So obviously, in any kind of problem statement, one of the major aspects of applying AI is the data, right? Data is the king, because if you have the right set of data, and how are you going about cleaning up the data, how are you preparing data lakes which are clean, and where you can train the data, you can test out the data, you can apply algorithms, and that is where the major things is there. So there are two major things. First thing is understanding that AI should be used for solving problem statements, and should have be a part of the solution. And number two is that the kind of data which is involved. Data is very important. If you have a lot of data involved, the models that you can build become much more powerful as and when you build models. So that, I think, these are the two things that firms need to take care of while building for AI.
Yeah, I think that was absolutely right. And it was indeed a very gripping discussion, Amartya. And it's clear that AI is not just a buzzword for finance teams or for the general public. It's actually a transformative force in finance and beyond. Right? And for finance teams, the opportunity to optimize processes and make smarter, data driven decisions has never been this greater. We are in the perfect times, actually going towards using solutions that really matter. As you said, there's no use if AI was just for the buzz. There has to be a real world applicability. There has to be a outcome that has to be attached to the application of AI, and that's where FinFlow is exactly at. That is what we are trying to solve, right? But really, thank you for sharing your insights and experiences today. And to all our listeners, I hope you found this episode valuable. Stay tuned for more deep dives. But until next time, keep exploring on what's AI for the office of the CFO. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.